Welcome to Roots and Roofs, where we explore the intersection of motherhood and entrepreneurship in the real estate world. I am your host, Mackenzie Shelton. Join us as we dive into the unique journey of balancing family life with owning a thriving real estate business. Each episode, we will uncover inspiring stories, practical tips, mindset conversations, and expert insights from others who are carving their paths in the real estate industry. Whether you are a seasoned realtor, a prospective buyer, or simply curious about the dynamics of managing both home and career, Roots and Roofs is your go-to podcast for heartfelt discussions and invaluable advice. Tune in and discover how these incredible women are building deep roots from the ground up while nurturing their families under the same roof. Hey everyone, welcome back to Roots and Roofs. I have a super awesome guest with me today. Brittany Wiley is not only a team member on our real estate team, Prairie and Pine Real Estate Group, but she is also my best friend and auntie to my kids, and we have a long history together. So I think this episode will be fun, and we'll have lots of great questions to go over. So, Brittany, why don't you go ahead and just start with telling the guests a little bit about yourself and how you ended up with a career in real estate.
Okay, so a little bit about myself. My husband and I have been together for 11 years, married for 6. Yeah, something like that.
I think that's right.
We have 3 kids. Sloan will be 5 next week. Brielle just turned 3 in September, and Xander just turned 1 a couple of weeks ago on the 3rd. And in my previous career and actually my educational background is in education. So I became a teacher in 2011 was my first job, and I was part-time for 2 years, and then I got a full-time job at Lincoln East here in Lincoln, and I was there for 9 years. So I was a teacher for 11 years before I decided to make the change into real estate. And Mackenzie and I had talked about it for a couple of years leading up to me taking a break, and with COVID and starting to have kids, and some of the other things that were happening in education, it just felt like the right time to make a change. And so this is now my 3rd year in real estate, and so far it's going really good.
Awesome. I think that was a great introduction. I think you covered all the bases. So, okay, so let's go ahead and dive into the questions here really quick. What is the most important lesson you have learned as a real estate agent so far going into your 3rd year in real estate?
I feel like every career probably could speak to this, and there isn't necessarily one big thing, but lots of little things. You maybe get training or you get education for the field that you go in, but you never know how to manage or get through something until you get there. Um, and so I would say, just as a realtor, the biggest thing that I have learned is to really hone in on the people that I know I can help and connect well with, and know that they're, my people, maybe we'll say, and that not everyone is my people.
Yes,
And
yes.
that's okay. There's
Yes,
nothing wrong with that.
yes, that is totally okay. We've talked about that a few times, right? You you are by nature somewhat of a people pleaser, right?
Yeah.
So you want everybody to be your person, and unfortunately sometimes we just can't help people in the way that they need to be helped, right?
Or maybe I'm just not a good fit for that person. I
Yeah.
don't have a matching personality, or my communication style just doesn't match or mirror in a way. And that's, again, maybe this better answers a question like, my job is to help people, and if I don't think I'm the person that can help them best, that's okay. Like,
Yeah.
maybe my original answer framed it more about me, but it isn't about me. It's about our clients and making sure that we are doing everything right and best for them. So sometimes I might just not be the person, and that's okay.
Yes, absolutely. Agreed. So, what kind of things or factors have contributed to the overwhelming success that you've had so early in your career? And let me pause by saying her stats here, guys, because this is really big. Okay. Brittany's first full year in real estate, she closed 25 transactions. That is almost unheard of, even in our area. And she is now on track this year to pretty much do the same thing all over again. And that speaks a lot.
Hoping to go a little higher this
Yes,
year, depending on inventory and help getting my people what they're looking for.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. And that's the thing. What do you think has contributed to you being able to close repeatedly 25 transactions a year?
Um, for me, and I don't know if I've ever said this out loud, or maybe you and I have talked about this, but um, I work all day, every day, Monday through Friday. Like, I get up, we get up at around the same time every day. Again, I have 3 kids, so we get the kids ready, we get ourselves ready. We take Sloan to preschool. I take the other 2 to daycare, and then usually I head straight to the office, and I'm at the office usually until 4 or just after, unless I have appointments or things like that. Of course, this career provides me the opportunity to, like this morning, I stopped at Walmart before I came back home to get ready for this, and did a couple of things around the house this morning, but that's not typical for me on a typical work day. I go to the office and um, I look at my pendings, I look what I have coming up that's going on the market. I have a number of buyers right now, so I'm actively working to try to find them. But that's my day-to-day routine is, I mean, I take this job very seriously as I would, or as I did as a teacher. And so I probably work, I would say at minimum 9 to 4 every day at the office, again, less appointments and things like that. So
So
I
so
think
tell
that is a
me,
big part of it.
yeah, so tell me a little bit about what when you are at the office all day, because that's basically almost a full work day, right?
Yeah.
What are the things that are always on your list to be able to have the success that you have now? What kind of activities are you making sure to check off your list every single day?
Right. So kind of going back to that, just looking at what I do have under contract, where is it at? What do I need to follow up with? Right now I have a house that I had listed that closes next week, and I need to know when the final walkthrough is. And so I need to follow back up with that agent because I haven't heard back from that agent on when that's going to happen. And I need to be communicating with my clients. Today, my goal is to do some cold calling in town close to Lincoln here for some clients that I have who are looking to try to move back to the community. They want to retire here. They've got family here. They live in North Carolina right now. So I don't necessarily do that every day, but I do actively look what's on the market, what houses are coming up for sale. That's a big thing that I go usually once or twice a week. I look at what the no-show status houses look like. Reconnecting with my sphere. I spend a lot of time talking with my sphere, especially people who know me closest. I get calls pretty regularly from family and friends letting me know of other houses that are for sale, but then also going through my database, touching base with my past clients, people that I maybe haven't helped yet, but know at some point in the next couple of years I'll be helping, checking in with them. Which I don't do. Our goal is once a quarter with those people, and it it doesn't pan out for me
That's
that
okay.
that
Nobody's
often.
perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Twice a year, my big goal is to make sure I talk with people twice a year. 3 times is probably ideal. 4 times, I think, for me, feels a little uncomfortable, but so it's just a lot of talking to people, helping my buyers find what they're looking for, helping my sellers find a buyer if we haven't found one yet, talking to other agents, looking at what properties are for sale, looking at days on market, just really making sure that I'm keeping myself sharp in what's happening day to day and week to week, because things in this market right now fluctuate so often that if you're really not busy, or you're not a productive realtor, you might not necessarily know what is happening, and that's not you won't be as helpful to your clients, unfortunately, if you're not really paying attention.
Yeah, absolutely agreed.
Yeah.
So when you first started, let's kind of go back to your first, I don't know, let's say your first 6 months. Okay.
Mhm.
What was your number one focus that you had every single day?
Yeah.
And how many, we talked about this the other day.
Yeah.
How many people were you trying to talk to every single week?
Yeah. When I first started, my goal was 100 plus people, like actual conversations, not just
Yes.
like a text that doesn't get responded to, or an email, or a Facebook message. And Facebook is really where I started in reaching out to all of my friends on Facebook. Hey, I switched careers. Most people knew me as a teacher. I probably posted quite a bit about it, some of the day-to-day drama at a high school. But letting people know that I had switched, and asking people if they had questions, or if they knew anyone, or if they maybe had questions, or was thinking about moving in the next year or two. And I did a lot of door knocking, I think at that point in time I was trying to go 2 or 3 times a week. um, Unfortunately, some of the best times to get the best numbers or talk to the most number of people is, mid to late afternoon, early evening, when people are home from work. But I would often go even during the day when I knew my numbers weren't going to be as high, but still get out there and just try to meet people and talk to people. At that time too, I called a lot of for sale by owners, just chatting with them, seeing how things were going. And then I was also relatively successful with talking to people who unfortunately had worked with another agent and maybe just didn't get their home sold the first time. So those are the canceled listings or expired listings where they had already been listed and they're still trying to get their house sold, but don't know where to turn, and having conversations with those people, meeting with them. And I had some success with helping those people. I think every canceled or expired home seller that I worked with, I was successful in getting their house quickly under contract after making some changes, professional photography. There's lots of key things with listings, but I mean, I worked my butt off.
Yeah.
Those
So
first 6 months, and there was a lot of anxiety, and stress, and getting my contacts, and really trying to finding the people,
yes.
because they don't know who I am, and so I have to tell people who I am.
Yeah. And I think kind of if a new agent is listening to this or somebody who wants to get into real estate, I think the key takeaway here is you really do have to treat it like a job. It does offer a lot of flexibility,
Mhm.
but if you are not treating this career like you would a traditional job, you're probably not going to close 25 transactions in your very first year, right? And kind of going even a little bit further with that, you have to have several buckets of people that you are talking to every single day and hitting certain numbers of people every single week in
Mhm.
order to be able to close 25 transactions in a year. Would you agree?
Yeah, to be honest, I think you and I've talked about this a lot in the time that I've been in real estate. It's shocking to me that people don't maybe don't treat it like a full-time job, or how many agents there are out there that are part-time, or and this isn't like, I'm not saying anything bad about those people, but to me, when I decided to get into this career, like I didn't know what it took because I had never done it before. So
I tried to warn you.
I've I've always been a firm believer that, like, I don't know what it's like to be a doctor because I've never been a doctor. I don't know what it's like to work in healthcare because I've never worked in healthcare.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's like to do a job and until you actually have done it. And I think if people believe that, idea, you really don't know what a realtor does until you do it, or, you go through it and you really understand, um, you know, what it really takes to be successful, and how much time and energy and availability and late nights and negotiations and, early mornings. And there's a lot of happiness in real estate and helping people accomplish, their dreams. And I helped some people close earlier this month on their dream acreage, that's just a mile away from where they lived, and their house closed the week following. Um, you know, but then other times I've had clients where we weren't successful, and we looked at so many houses and wrote so many offers, and we just couldn't get it, you
yeah.
know?
You have to take the good with the bad, right? And
Yeah.
I'm sure it's like that in just about any career,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
The
it's
grass
been
is not greener on the other side, contrary to what some people think.
yes, yes. But
Everything can be hard.
you would agree from being a teacher and the kind of schedule that you had to have and some of the obligations that you had, this career is a better probably fit for your lifestyle and for your family.
Yeah, we still have some kinks to work out with it, of course, having, when I started in this, we were not, planning number 3. So, uh, um, that's thrown, a little bit of a wrench into it. My husband also works in sales, so we do find that sometimes some weeks can be harder than others, and it's seasonal too, pending his, job and what he's got going on. And so that's probably the big thing that we probably could work a little harder at, really having a better resolution those weeks where I have lots of appointments. Last week I showed houses every night but one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And thankfully, I haven't experienced that all year long. But it becomes challenging, for
Yeah.
both of us.
So what kind of things have you guys been able to set up, you
Mhm.
personally and you and Joel together? Like what kind of things have you guys been able to set up in the last year that you think have helped with kind of managing being a mom and, being a high producer in this career?
Um, I have been vigilant in making sure that I communicate better. You always think you're a good communicator, and um, there's just with my husband at least, and making sure that he knows when I have appointments, or him communicating with me when he has appointments. Like, he just texted me a little bit ago, and he always lets me know when he gets his next appointment. So that way, if it is late, like yesterday, he had a 3:30, and he didn't get home until 6, which was fine because I didn't have any appointments last night. And so in that circumstance, we have several different people that we can reach out to kind of in a pinch. Unfortunately, sometimes I don't have anyone that can take my kids, and most of the time my clients are, understand. So I'll still go show them that house, and I've had to take all 3 of my children with me, and it is not ideal to do that. One,
You're preaching to the choir, girl. Like
yep.
I I have always said I don't want to work with somebody who can't understand that I'm also a mom and that
Yeah,
usually they need to look at houses on nights and weekends. And if Jack's gotta go do, he used to be a plumber, right? So if he had a plumbing emergency, like the kids are having to come with me, like, sorry,
yeah,
that's just kind of the way it goes. So
yeah. So it does, like I said, it doesn't happen very often, but occasionally, it happens where I have to take all of my children with me. But we just make it work. Joel's job doesn't afford him that luxury. I can't even imagine. Uh, him
so
having
so
to
so
take
tell
three
me
children with him to an appointment. That would be
that
great.
would that would actually be really funny.
Uh, to be a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like I said, it can be challenging. Some days or some weeks can be harder than others, but we have enough people in our corner, some old students of mine that we trust to watch our kids that we can reach out to and family and things like that. So
Well, and I notice, from having this conversation like a year ago, right, when Xander was born to now, I think you guys are doing a lot better, making sure that you guys both know each other's schedules
mhm,
and, coordinating things and kind of getting even some tentative sitters in place for the weeks that you think might be busier than others. So kind of trying to be proactive instead of reactive. I say that all the time, don't I?
yeah,
Doing everything that we can to be proactive instead of reactive is what I think sets us up for success and hopefully not lets us be so stressed in the
yeah.
moment. And tell everybody a little bit about the person that you hired to help make your home life a little bit easier.
Oh yeah. Um, so we hired a cleaning crew to clean our house. Um, they've been, they've probably been helping us. I'd have to look, maybe a year and a half now.
Yeah, I think it's
Um,
been about a year.
it's been a while. We have them come just once a month. I would argue we could probably have them come more often. So I've had to kind of let go a little bit, especially kind of those last couple of days or last week. So it's a real struggle for me to get through and looking at my house. But that's been a huge piece on our end, especially having three kids. I never realized, you don't know what having three kids is like until you have three kids. And I posted something the other day on Facebook and I was like, one kid is one kid. I think back to the days where it was literally just us and Sloan. Two kids is, what did it say? Like five kids. Two kids is five kids. And three kids is 387 kids, a donkey, and something else. It was so funny. And so of course I posted it because it really hit home, like
Hmm.
that's
Yep.
exactly what it's like having three. Um, but yeah, Anna's been a godsend in coming in once a month and getting our house back in back in line and taking that off of my plate. So
Yes. And I did this back in 2020 when I was like that year I closed 72 transactions by myself, not including what we were doing on the team. And it was just kind of one of those things where I went to Jack and I was like, if you want me to not just, I don't know, burn the
fall
whole
over and
place
die.
down. Yeah, yeah, burn the whole place down. We have to hire a cleaning person because then at least for one day out of the month, my entire house is clean from top to bottom.
Is it the whole day though, or is it only like the 2 hours that they're there and it's clean, and then as soon as we come home, it's yes. The
Yeah, that's
windows are ruined, the floor's ruined,
yeah,
everything is dirty again. It's okay. Okay.
that's very true. That's very true. Okay, well, I have just one last question for you, and I think this would be very helpful to all of the listeners. So, what advice would you give to someone considering making a career change?
Um, into real estate, right? Or just in
Yeah,
general?
or just in general, right? It can be either one. Yeah.
So I think that's a really great question. And we could both speak to this because we have um, quite a few friends that work in healthcare. And I think back to the year or two, or however long you want to call it, of COVID, and how difficult that was for so many people, but most importantly, our friends in healthcare. And, we have, Mackenzie and I have several friends who are contemplating that very idea of
Yeah.
is this sustainable? Like, can I keep doing this? Do I want to keep doing this? Does this bring me joy? Does it, match what my family needs from me, and or what I'm able to give my family, because this just takes so much from me. And
Hmm.
that was one of the things those were the things that got me off the fence of whether or not I wanted to pursue a new career. And after COVID and we went back to work and all that jazz, it just felt like the right time to try something different. And um there's lots of things that I enjoy doing. I get a lot of people ask me if I like being a realtor more than I liked being a teacher. And I always liked being a teacher. It wasn't about not liking teaching. There's just more to it, just like in real estate, and like in any career. There's more to it than what you think there is. And again, it goes back to the grass isn't always greener on the other side necessarily, but I think this was a good change for me and my family. And if somebody's really thinking about it, I think adults can't really job shadow these days, but you know, go talk to people and figure out if it would make sense for you, or if there's an opportunity to take a year off. That was my opportunity, was to take a year leave of absence. And um you'll never know if you don't try.
Yes, absolutely. And
So
I think probably I've never been in a different career field, but I imagine like the probably the most important question to ask yourself would be, it is this still kind of fulfilling me as a person, and does it meet and match like the goals that I have long term for myself, right? And if it kind of I'm because I feel like that was kind of what ended up happening for you was it kind of was not then aligning with a lot of the goals that you wanted as a family and things like that. So that's, I think, probably one of the big reasons the switch made sense. Would you agree?
yeah, and knowing what I needed to do. I mean, I would not, uh, I think people would consider this a sales job or whatever. I'm not a saleswoman. But I think the biggest thing is knowing that the switch that you're going to make actually fits your abilities.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty self-motivated person. I don't like not hitting my weekly numbers. I don't like not hitting my goals. I'm pretty motivated. I enjoy working. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I do. I enjoy getting things done. Um, my husband would probably agree with all of that. I'm the doer. And so
Yeah.
this really matched my personality in my drive and my work ethic. And again, it goes back to, like, not everyone maybe is my client or wants to work with me, and not every career field is for everyone. And so the big thing, I think, is just really looking inward. What matches you, your work ethic or your abilities, and if this is something that you think you can do,
Yeah.
uh, then have the conversation.
Absolutely. Okay, so can you give just one? This is not meant to be salesy or anything, but can you kind of just give a plug to why you think new agents should join a team, and then that'll kind of wrap things up for us.
Yeah, that's a great question because I still get asked from solo agents why I'm on it. Why are you on a team? Um, and well, one, I don't know anything different from being on a team, but two, it does provide a lot of leverage. And I know I have people that I can call. I know that if I go out of town, I have people that have my back, and I don't have to worry about that. I have people that I trust, that I work with, that I'm around all the time, and can depend on. We have transaction coordinators. Huge time saver there in, helping to make sure that things are getting done or conversations are being had with lender, title, other agent, what have you. And that's a huge thing for us, is just having that leverage, especially because I'm a mom. I'm a mom and a wife, and we're homeowners, and there is a lot going on. And in my opinion, to sustain the business that I am doing, um, leverage is really, really important, so.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. That's why people should join a team, for the leverage, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
and then that way you're not having to go out and hire your own assistant and find that person, and or find a showing assistant, or figure out if all of a sudden somebody can't hold an open house for you, what are you doing? Like,
Mhm,
we know somebody that just went through that this weekend, right? So
mhm.
it's just all of those things. I totally agree with you, and I am so thankful that you decided to join our team 3 years ago, at this point, over 3 years
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
And you are just kicking butt, and I'm so proud of you every single day. And I just can't wait to see everything that you do in 2025.
Well, thank you. And I'm glad that we started these conversations so many years ago, and that you gave me this opportunity, because there's no way I could have done this on my own. That's probably one of the biggest things that I have touted to people, is there's no way I would have made this on my own in the beginning. Those classes don't prepare you for nothing.
They teach
You
you
know?
how many square feet are in a acre, and yeah, that's about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And some of those math things, I'm glad that I learned, or whatever. But you certainly don't retain all of it. And sometimes things come up. There was some title things in a CE that I had earlier or last week, that came up, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that, but I don't remember what it is, because you just don't use it. But that's pretty typical in any field. But I am really glad that I had this opportunity. And again, I wouldn't have made it on my own. I remember the first time I wrote a contract, I was so scared, and I was like,
I
I
was
think I
I was
called you.
in
I think I called
Menards.
you 30 times that day. And when I say 30 times, that's not an exaggeration. If we go back to the call logs, I can almost promise you there was at least 30 calls made to Mackenzie Shelton that day.
That's probably accurate. I was literally in Menards, like, having to, like, walk you through what to put
Yeah.
in the contract. Yep.
Yeah, because that's not something that they teach you in the class either. Like, that's something that they just expect you to figure out on your own.
Yeah.
And how many times I called you for months after that. Now I still call you, but it's, um, not obviously as often, but it goes back to two, like, you really, in real estate, you learn things as you go, and
Yeah.
all that jazz. But but we have been best friends for a really long time. And so
I think
I
it's been
wanted to,
13 years now.
okay, so I have no idea how long it has to be longer than that. Probably right around there, I guess, because
13, 14 years. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but I figured we could end this on our little thing. Did we just become best friends?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Until
Very
next
typical
time.
for us.
I love you. I will
I
see
love
you
you.
later.
Yes,
Bye.
yes. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to Roots and Roofs podcast today. If you loved today's episode, please let me know. I love hearing from you on Instagram and Facebook, so feel free to send me a DM or tag me in your stories so I can share it too. If you're looking for more information about today's topic, please visit my website, mahoganyacres.com, and all of the information that is listed in the show notes below. Until next time.